Live off dividends or pay your mortgage? I want to go in this again because I tell you, man, I'm telling you. I think a lot of people are taking on more risk than they need to, frankly. When they when they say I'm going to live off my 6% or 5% dividends, I'm telling you. I love dividends. I have dividend companies. I own VDIGX, the Vanguard Dividend Appreciation Fund, and I own my biggest holding is Wellington by far. So I'm a huge fan of dividends. However, I will never sacrifice paying interest to the bank in order to live off dividends. And you can do whatever you want. I wouldn't do it. I tell you that right now. Now, all my stuff won't be enough to pay off my mortgage. So if I had enough to pay off my mortgage, I'd do it 2 seconds flat, be done. And I think a part two of the mortgage thing here is, and I'm going to get into some of the risks of dividends. I'm just going to share with you. A lot of people, they forget that when you're paying a mortgage, you're not just paying the interest, man. You have to generate a certain income stream in which to pay the interest and the principal. That's why it's called PT or PTI or whatever you want to call it, PITI. Principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. All right, now taxes and insurance you have to pay regardless of your mortgage. But principal and interest, let's say at a 0% interest, you still have to pay whatever the principal is. Let's say the principal is $1,000 a month. You still need to generate $12,000 a year in income in which to pay the principal. That $12,000 a year inherently cannot be used for other things. It must be generated, which means you can't just sit on your butt eating ice cream all day long because you need to generate $12,000 a year in income. And it's taxable. It's taxable, be it qualified dividends, long-term capital gain, and ordinary income or interest. It's taxable. I'm telling you, man. So it's just like the idea, my interest is only 2%. I'm like, yeah, but that's only half the battle. Even if you had no interest, you still have to generate money in which to pay the interest. Well, Josh, that's okay because my dividends will do it. I will do. All right, so I'm going to go in this term right here. And when I was taking my Series 7 back in 1999, they used to call the grandma stocks. And I seemed like it was a grandma and something else stocks. But like municipal, the 403Bs, we call them the teachers and preachers. Yeah, 403Bs, we call teachers and preachers because they're for school teachers and, and people in nonprofits. And then the grandma stocks would be a certain type of dividend stock. So hottest grandma stocks. All right, so let's see. The term grandma stock is used to describe the defensive stocks that most commonly consist of companies that produce reliable consumer staples. These companies generally fare well regardless of general economic and market conditions because their goods are always in demand. All right, so that's good. So I like that. So we're going to go into this one right here. Here's AT&T, 8% dividend. And this is from Decatur, Illinois, Herald and Review from 8 January 1910. 8 January 1910. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Got to make it bigger. There we go. Since 1907, AT&T has paid an 8% annual dividend. When I hear the 8% annual dividend, I'm like, that's odd to me. Since 1907, because that's the percentage hasn't changed much. Anyway, for the past 20 years, it and its predecessors, which it now controls, have never paid less than 7.5% yearly. That's just odd. I'm going to go into that more here with my my little chart, and we'll dive into that. Organized in 1885, it owns and directly operates all the long distance and toll lines connecting the various Bell telephone companies. In 1900, it acquired, through majority stock ownership, control of about 40 associated or subsidiary companies comprising the entire Bell system of the United States and Canada. It later acquired, Western Electric, which manufactures all equipment and instruments used by the parent and subsidiary companies disposing of surplus output by sale and lease. So basically, it's one big conglomerate which controls the top to the bottom, everything in between. Talk about monopoly. Just had a chuckle because John D. Rockefeller Jr.'s brother-in-law, Winthrop Aldrich, was the head of Chase Bank before he retired to accept the post of the ambassador to England at the urgent request of President Eisenhower. But he's also a director of a American Telephone and Telegraph Company. So let me just show you real quick. Let's see. Back in 1901, Mr. Aldrich's sister, Abby Aldrich, married John D. Rockefeller Jr. And in 1930, when the Chase Bank merged with Old Equitable Trust Company, Mr. Rockefeller required a very substantial block of Chase stock, and guess who thus became the successor to Albert Wiggin, who was not running the Chase in the way that Mr. Rockefeller would have preferred he did. All right, so Mr. Wiggins' successor, Mr. Aldrich. So grandma's stock, it has to be, it is all corrupt, it is what it is, but it has to be a moat, it has to be safe, and it has to pay a continued dividend in a monopoly, which obviously AT&T did. But they broke it up to little, from Ma Bell, they broke it up to little bills. Yeah, loosen all that. It's, if you think that didn't help the Rockefeller clan and all the other clowns that went with them, you're crazy. Anyway, a conservative investment. The stock and the 4% and convertible bonds of the company afford every essential of conservatism as well as desirable income capacity. Both the stock and bonds are listed on the stock exchanges of various cities. This assures investors a convenient and ready market at all times, a valuable feature which investors find missing in real estate, mortgages, and unlisted securities, which only have limited markets. Yep. Let's see. The policy of the company is to issue new stock to its stockholders at par. So valuable in the past and promises even greater future value. All right, so that's great. I got no qualm with AT&T. You can buy it if you want. I have no idea. Let's take a look here. What's AT&T doing right now? But I'm going to share with you a couple of things about the 8% dividend. Why that's odd to me. AT&T, ticker symbol, the letter T. T for Texas, T for Tennessee. Yeah, so right now it's, you can see over the last month it's kind of fallen, and that's more than just a dividend payout. So it's gone from 21 to where we're at now. It's 18.37 over the last year. It's bounced around the last 5. Right now it's got a 6 price earnings ratio of 6 and a dividend yield of 6%. All right, so nothing wrong with that. But why is a dividend yield of 6%? Because it's only, I can't actually tell what the yield, the actual payment is. And we can figure it out. Hold on a second. All right, so right now it's paying about 27 cents a share. 27 cents a share. Okay, so I wonder if they've actually, let's take a look if they've done anything with that. All right, so if we take, it's paying 27 cents a share, we times that by 4, 0.27 times by 4, because it pays, most companies pay 4 times a year. That's $1.08 a share, divided by current price of 18.73, 18.73. It's a 5.7% dividend yield right now. All right, 5.7% dividend yield. All right, so let's go back to 2000. All right, and let's see, they're paying 25 cents a share in 2000. That looks about right. So let's see now what the price was back then in 2000. Let's see if we can apply it. And went from 32 basically to 29 to 30. We're going to say on average $30 a share. It was basically on average $30. All right. This will make sense when we keep doing this. So hold on just a second. So what we're going to do, it basically is between 36, 41, all the way down to 28. So we're going to say it's about $30 a share, give or take. And about 25 cents a share times 4. So we have $1 in total dividends. All right. $1 in dividends. There we go. And let's go now to 2005. I'm going to pause it for a second. We don't want the adjusted close. That's assuming dividends. That's for the few. That's a long term. We just want this close right here. We want the real close for the real day. And so $18. We're going to go back to 18. It averaged roughly $18 a share in 2005. And it paid about 32 cents a share for a dividend. All right, so hang tight. Here's the price in 2010, 22, 1950, 19, we'll say about 1950 a share was what it traded at in 2010. So now let's look at 2015. And 47 cents a share, 26, 25, 26, 26, 24, 26. We'll just say about 26 here, price per share. 2020, roughly 22 there, 28, 26, 23, 23. Let's go with 22. We're going to say 22 per share. All right, good. So what we got here? All right, so let me show you what I'm doing here. All right, so we got from 2000 to 2005, 2010, 2015, 2020, and now. All right, so I'm assuming the 27 cents a share dividend will be extrapolated for 2 more dividend payments March, June, September, and December. So we'll get total $1.08 a dividend for the year 2022. Now, if we look, it was actually paying $1.28 a dividend in 2005. So 17 years ago, it was actually paying more dividends per share than it is now because the dividend had fallen off a cliff. It went from $2.08 to $1.08 now, $1.08 right now within 2 years' time. All right, so now the yield right now is 5.7. So what we do is we take this number divided by this number, and that will give us our yield. All right, so 208 divided by 22, because the yield is simply the dividend per share divided by the price per share. So 2.08 divided by 22 is yielding 9.4 in 2020, roughly. Let's keep going. I'll pause it real quick. All right, so what you're going to see here is you're going to see in 2000, and this is the era of Lucent and all that, the yield was only 3.3. It basically gave you $1 for a share for a dividend on a price of 30 at a 3.3 yield. Yikes. Let's see. 5 years later, the dividends went up by 28% from $1 to 128. The price went down to 18, and the yield now is 7.1 because the dividend goes up, the price of shares go down. That is a higher yield. That's just that simple. And you can see, so 2015, the yield is up 88% over what it was in 2000. The price is still below what it was in 2000. The price at 26, so the yield is up 7.2 from what it was in 2000. So the yield is higher, but the price is way down. But still, man, you're still making money off the dividends. I get all that. I 100% get it. Until guess what happens? 2022 rolls around. Dividend goes down to $1. Price is down to 18.73. The lowest has been since 2005. Your yield is at 5.71. That's not really that conservative an investment now, is it? According to, now this is from 1910. 8% dividend stock. Well, right now it's paying 5.7 as a dividend yield with a price, with a dividend actually half what it was literally just 2 years ago. Huh. You know what hasn't gone down? Your freaking mortgage payment is still the same. So you're riding. And I talked about this last time. We talked about Wells Fargo dividend getting smoked. Bank of America paying 1 cent a share. Of course, the only reason it paid 1 cent a share was to make sure it could continue to pay its preferred shareholders. You have to pay your preferred stock. You can't pay, if you don't pay a dividend, preferred stocks don't get paid. So the only way the dividends, you can get a dividend is you pay your preferred stocks. I mean, you could still pay the preferred stocks, but you had to pay a dividend. If you paid a 1 penny dividend, you had to pay your preferred stocks first. And that's what happened with Bank of America. Anyway, the point being is, man, your dividend is back down to where it was from 2015 to now. Your dividends dropped from $1.88 a share to 108. You've lost 80 cents a share in your dividend, and your price has gone down from 26 to 18. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about, man. Yes, it could work out for you. You could have bought it in 2000 at $1 a share and paid off your mortgage in 2020 at $2.08 a share in dividend and never touched the principal. But that's not happening now. You just don't know. And everyone's like, well, these are grandma stocks, the dividend stocks or high quality stocks. I've seen these people reading these papers like, yeah, we want to only have high quality. What? Okay, so was AT&T not high quality? Was Wells Fargo not high quality? Bank of America? The list goes on and on about the stocks that were high quality. GE, but they no longer are. I mean, it's freaking dumb, man. So, I mean, again, if you want to live off your dividends, that's fine. But the idea dividends just go on this increasing linear each and every year. I mean, okay, but your mortgage does. Anyway, I'd be paying off my mortgage. I wouldn't be paying off reinvesting dividends while my mortgage is out there. I think that's a messed up. I think that's wrong. Now, again, I'm not gonna yell at you. It's your money. I wouldn't take that risk. Hey, love your thoughts. We'll see you